Trust is not a soft skill as many would have you believe. Trust is in fact a bottom line decision. I believe it is the single uniqueness of the greatest leaders, the greatest chiefs.
The presentation was so wonderful. It brought tears to my eyes. It was so heartfelt, and I'm just so inspired now.
They said, well, what is really our biggest crisis? I mean, the world economic leaders sat in round tables like yours and said, what's the biggest crisis? Financial? Number 2. Trust? Number 1.
Guys, it's a super great program, so enthusiastic and like how they just made you want to jump up and run out and get something done right away. I really enjoyed it.
First pillar from the research of the greatest leaders and organizations of all time. Number 1 pillar, consistency.
I believe trust is the single uniqueness of the greatest leaders and organizations of all time. I think when you lose trust, you've lost the most important advantage you can gain. Where there's more trust, people pay more, come back, tell others.
What's trust to you? Honesty. Many people say that. What else builds trust? Integrity. What else? Loyalty. Okay.
Hey, this man is the best I've ever listened to in my 57 years.
Vision. Once again, people could think it's a soft idea. There's an old proverb, ancient proverb says, without vision, people perish. Hey, without vision, companies fold, families fight, and teams flounder. But with a clear, unifying vision, people come together. How many of you are parents? Or ever had parents? Most everybody, good. I've got 4 kiddos, and my youngest, when I come home from speaking or a business trip or something, he comes running up to me the same almost every time, and he shouts the exact same words. Maybe you had one like this, but he'll come to the door, Daddy, Daddy, throw me up in the air really high. Anybody have one like that? They love getting tossed up, don't they? Daddy, throw me up in the air really high. So I do. And most of the time I catch him. No, he trusts his daddy to catch him every time, doesn't he? One breach of trust, and he'll stop asking. There's a lot of reasons we don't trust someone. We don't trust the arrogant, do we? How many of you know a know-it-all? How many sit next to one right now? And you're both raising your hand, we got a problem.
Is the trust completely broken at this point?
Trust is broken, but to say it's completely broken, I still have hope. We see all the time where someone starts to do the little things right that make the big difference. And I believe there is a way to rebuild trust, but we have low trust right now in America.
You talk about that in your book. As a matter of fact, you have 8 pillars of trust. They are clarity, compassion, commitment, character, competency, connection, contribution, and consistency. But how do we get our lawmakers to go along with that?
What would happen if they would change everything, just change their mindset and say, you know what, instead of blaming everybody else, I'm going to take responsibility for my role, even if it's a small role.
If you go to New York City, you'll find rolled out on weekday mornings these little coffee and donut stands, won't you? Coffee and donut stands, and Jason found one that was different than all the others. If you go up to Ralph's stand and ask for 1 glazed donut, he shouts back in a voice that evidently the regulars know well, 75 cents! You'd think he'd turn people off. But he has a bigger line than anybody else. If you try to pay Ralph $1, a dollar bill, Ralph motions you on to the end of his little stand, his little shop on wheels, where there's a tray. There's change strewn about, there's a cup in the middle. There's cash, bills sticking out of this cup on a corner in New York City. What are you supposed to do? Make your own change and pay what you owe. What happens at Ralph's stand? Ralph serves roughly twice the customers of any other stand researched in New York City. Ralph serves them in half the time. He doesn't have to take his gloves off every time like all the others, right? And Ralph has loyal customers. Why? Trust.
It was a great motivation. In fact, I bought books for each of our sons to read when we get home that work with us. Did a great job.
It wasn't until later I learned the importance of really listening. Not being ready with an answer, but really listening. I have to continue to work at it, but every bit of work I put into it changes my marriage, my friendships, and my business. It's worth it. Have any of you been to Banff? One of the most beautiful places in the world. I was asked to go up there to speak to a bunch of lawyers on trust. You get a Parks Mountain guide. This is the actual guide I got from last summer when we were going up to speak to these attorneys. And then something caught my attention. Bear attacks. I'm going to read this word for word. I am not making any of this up. Did you know there are two kinds of bear attacks? Ones that hurt and ones that don't? I'm pretty much, if it attacks me, it's attacking me. If the bear, this is the guide, if the bear makes contact with you, play dead. Right. Lie on your stomach with your legs apart. Cover the back of your neck with your hands. I am now vulnerable. Here, Barry. Listen to this. Defensive attacks seldom last more than 2 minutes. If the attack continues, it may have shifted from defensive to predatory. In that case, fight back. What are you gonna do? Ouch! I'm in at 30. Ouch! I'm in at 40. I'm gonna get you in 15 seconds. By then, your arm's over there with your watch on it. Final bit. Now, try to escape into a building or car. If you can't escape, no longer play dead. Now, fight back. Well, I don't know. I hear it actually does work with bears. It does not work in life. We must wake up and be present.
This guy is the man. High character. That's what we need in America. He's the man.
But we're all different pieces of this thread we call Alexandria. We have different strengths, different abilities. We have different challenges in our organizations. We come from different families. What's my hope for you and for me in this short time we got to spend together? My hope is that you'll come together and not just be the fastest growing community in Minnesota, but also come together to be one most trusted community in Minnesota. Thanks for letting me be here today.
He did a great job. So funny, man. I tell you what, it was all the illustrations he did with it, just fantastic. Great job, guys.
Fun and informative.
The honesty, the sincerity, the childhood stories, real life examples.
We definitely would see him again.